Are we doing the questions after?
Yeah, let's. I'll roll with some, and then we can answer the questions together if that works. Because luckily, Evan and I work together.
Yes.
So
there we go. Adam Marsh.
All right, let's make sure the tech guys can actually deliver on the tech side. All right, so surprise, I'm going to use similar software, but I'm coming from a little bit of a different angle than what Evan comes from. So my name's Adam Marsh. I'm the president at Ledge Inc. We're a manufacturing and consulting firm. We're located just over in York, PA, and our focus has historically been around quality and management systems. So I'm an industrial engineer. I'm taking maybe a different focus on this. My focus has not been marketing, but has instead been practical actually uses for my customers. And knowing that, about a year ago, well, number one, I've been using this for 2 years now, probably really heavy, and I just happen to be that tech guy. And this is kind of how people are falling into being the AI guy. I did not search out to be the AI guy. I've probably now delivered this speech, I don't know, 30 to 40 to 50 times in the past year, and I have 7 of them scheduled for this fall. It is insanity to see the demand for this information right now, and the idea behind it is we are all hearing about AI every day. What can we actually start using, right? And how do we do that safely? So we are uniquely positioned to do that because I've spent so many years, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, in manufacturers, looking at where their problems are, and I see the opportunities for AI to solve some of those problems. So we're looking at building out use cases for those exact problems. And so I like to start with how fast is this actually happening? If we look at home PCs, it took home PCs about 18 years to get to 100 million users. It took the internet about 10 years to get to 100 million users. It took ChatGPT 2 months to get to 100 million users. Okay, when we think about the speed at which this is happening, I'm probably delivering this speech on that note, on that many, at least once a week. I already did it earlier today for a smaller group, okay, which is, like I said, it's crazy. Well, today I'm doing the same one, but normally it's a different speech every time because week by week this is changing, and I have to keep up with it to be able to say this is the most up-to-date stuff that's going on. So why is this so urgent? That this is happening with or without you, and if you don't think your people are using it, you're kidding yourself. They are using it behind your back if you haven't given them tools to do this. So please note, people are going to find the easiest way to do things, and this is exactly what they're going to start using. You're going to use their personal ChatGPT account if you don't give them tools to start using. A study just came out. They studied 1 million prompts in the second quarter, and they found that 4 out of every 100 prompts had proprietary information in it. 4 out of every 100. And then they started looking at uploads. It was 22% of uploads had confidential company information in, and people are just uploading it to their ChatGPT. That is terrifying. As Evan said, you're training it. So we need to instead look for other opportunities, other ways we can use it and not feed it our data. This is a competitive advantage for you. I can tell you, if you don't jump in now, if you don't start looking around and looking for opportunities for this, 6 months from now, if your competition is doing this, they're going to be light years ahead. That's how fast this is moving. So in my mind, I don't believe this is just another tool where we're going to give you another piece of software. This is a platform. So we've been talking a lot that AI is like a 3D printer. We're not going to give you a tool and tell you exactly how to use it. It's not solving one single problem. It's solving a lot of problems for you. But you got to figure out what those problems are and then start tuning it to do those, right? So we talked a little bit about this. Will AI replace those jobs or supplement them? In my mind, it's just making my people better, faster, smarter. I am using it to take things out of their daily jobs that are the easy stuff. The easy stuff that are time wasters, that aren't really value added, but that we have to do. Our customers are expecting us to do that. And we're going to kind of walk through a couple of those. I really focus on, and this is my biggest, before I go anywhere, I hit the elephant in the room. Security and compliance with AI. And that is looking at not only, okay, say you want to use it for financial analysis. You want to put your company's financial data in that. Please don't put it into ChatGPT. You're just telling ChatGPT how great your company is or not so great historically, right? That's scary to me. And the anecdote I have of that is I recently got my first company, my first client because of ChatGPT. and they are in Wisconsin. I am from central Pennsylvania. I do not market in Wisconsin. I got a team of 10. We do some internet, some work all over, but I don't go to Wisconsin. And I said, how'd you find us? Just out of curiosity. They said, well, we asked ChatGPT who to use, and it said use you guys. I said, well, that's cool, but that's a little scary, right? Because now I've been training this thing for 2 years, right? I've been telling it all about my company. Luckily, I've been telling it good things. But there's a possibility that I could have been putting in, hey, here's all our problems, here's my financials, and you're teaching it, you're letting it learn from that. So unless your team is very good at turning off those learning modules and all those settings, if you don't put some guardrails up, they're going to start to do that. So we talk a lot about policy before prompts, and we encourage you at the end of this, I'll have a code that you can download a free AI policy to use for your team. We really encourage you to look at developing a policy that says, hey team, we'd like you to use it. I don't want you to stop them from using it, but here's the tools that you can use and here's what you're allowed to put in it. Look, I've got customers that are defense contractors. I do not, no matter the tool, I don't want them loading their prints of missile parts into any AI tools. And you'd be surprised, they're asking me if they can do that. Heck no, right? There's just no tool out there that I'd feel comfortable doing that with. Now, I work with some accounting firms that are using this. We're checking their tax packages before they send it to their customer. We're first checking it for spelling and footnotes, making sure things line up right, but we're also looking for tax problems and yet letting AI kind of do that study. I'm comfortable with it doing that. We might scrub the person's social security name or number or things like that out of it, but I'm using some secure tools that give us confidence that we can do that. So I want to go through two quick tools and then we can talk about some others. But a couple weeks ago I did a presentation, and this is one of my favorite stories because we have a platform that we sell to get folks using AI. And I did this similar presentation, and a guy has me coming. I'm actually going to visit him on Monday to work through where he can use AI. It is an Amish company making furniture. I sold AI to an Amish guy, right? Which I'm really happy about. Okay, so one of the things he's worried about is inventory. He said, I don't know what to buy and when. And so I have been working on this problem. This is a bigger problem, but it's really a logic problem. And guess what AI is pretty good at? If you give it the rules, it can follow the rules and solve a logic problem. So I'm going to just walk through, and this is a tool that we use, and this is me running my tool. Note, I try not to do live demos anymore because, God forbid, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, and then my life is unpleasant. So this is me running the tool. And what I did was I built a custom tool, and this is using some sample data. I'm not using his data, but my plan would be to be able to roll this out to people, where I can take his orders, his bill of materials, his current on-hand inventory, and any orders that he has out. In the background of the system, I've built what his lead times are, who his vendors are. From that, I can say, when should I buy stuff and how much should I buy? And let AI do the math for me. Let it tell me when I should start taking these actions. I gave it 2 guidelines. The 2 big guidelines I have, I want to be on time for my customers, and I want to be super lean. I don't want extra inventory. So AI is following those rules for me. And it's giving me that exact result on exactly the purchase orders I should be writing. So think about designing custom tools. No, this is not a tool that I can hand this same tool to another group. Everybody's data is going to be different. Everybody's guidelines are going to be different. But you can customize these tools. A tool like this might take 3 to 4 hours to build, and you've got something working. Now, we got to do some validation, make sure it's delivering what we want it to deliver. But think about your purchasing guy and giving him some confidence to be able to delve into a tool like this, where now he can decide exactly what to buy and when. So the next tool is, and I try to be a little self-deprecating. I'm an industrial engineer, so anybody know what an industrial engineer actually does? That's normally the response I get, so our job is to find efficiencies and figure out kind of how it's made. All right, I teach a class up at Elizabethtown College up here, and my focus is purely on how it's made. And so all I do is I teach engineers how to actually make things because they really don't know. And so I get to go into shops, look at how they're doing stuff, and find ways to optimize it, find ways to make it better. Well, one of the things I have to teach about is welding. It is not a strength of mine. I had some classes on it. I had to weld it. I'm a Penn State guy. I actually had to weld and pass a welding test to actually graduate with my degree. I passed that by the skin of my teeth. And however, a couple weeks ago, my tractor's broken. Whether I did it or my father did, I don't know. but somebody broke my tractor, and it needed to be welded back together. And I convinced my wife that this is my time to buy a welder and practice a little bit. And so I bought a welder, I welded it up, and I'm sitting there looking at my terrible weld. I mean, it's ugly, but it's holding. I said, what would AI say about my weld? I took a picture of it, uploaded it. It says, immediately stop, break this weld and start over, right? It's horrible. It says, no go on this weld, but here's what you can do to fix it. I said, oh, this is cool. I need to build this tool for my customers. So I went ahead and built this tool for my customers with the idea that the more details, the more content that I can give the tool, the better answer it's going to get. And so in this particular tool, I allow it to upload 3 welding pictures. I can put in my material information. I can put in a weld procedure if I've got it. I can say exactly what I use. So I actually dropped the picture of my weld in here. It's a kind of a drag and drop situation. And doing that, it gives me my game plan on how to fix my terrible weld. I can tell you it broke last weekend and I already had to repair it, so it was right. My weld was bad. But the beautiful part about this is, think about if you don't have a weld expert in-house, now I could use this tool and say, I don't think that weld looks right. You know, maybe I sent something out to get welded. What could I do about it? Is this good or not? Right? You might not need that weld expert. I don't have to call my buddy who's a weld expert who's going to make fun of me for my horrible weld. I can actually just use AI to start being my coach through this. I'm using this at home all the time. I'm not the most handy engineer in the world, and my wife just trusted me because I had AI to do our whole kitchen backsplash. And I had 4 tiles left at the end. My wife is an art teacher. These were not easy tiles. These were like wacky, and we got it just right. Because I'm using AI, it's giving me like the confidence to do this. Note here, I ask AI for a confidence score. One of the questions I get is, how do we know it's right? If you just ask AI to give you a result, it's going to just give you an answer, and if you just read that and don't kind of dive in, you might just think it's right. It's very confident in itself. So what we've started to do is develop game plans to say, hey AI, how confident are you in this answer, and what would make you more confident? So we actually ask it to tell us that. So it's going to tell me, hey, you know what? Give me a couple more pictures. Give me a picture from this angle. Upload this. Give me this detail, and then I can be more confident in my answer. So starting to use the tools to help kind of guide you in that direction. What's coming next here? The next big thing here is agents. And I don't know if anybody who's played with AI has played with AI agents, but these are things now that you can train and they will start to take action for you. So think about my dream for this has always been, what I talked about a year ago. The big thing with AI a year ago was that my wife and I have 3 kids, we're crazy busy, and I hate making a grocery list of deciding what we're eating this week and developing the grocery list. So I used AI to say, hey, here's everything my family likes to eat. Build me a menu plan for the week, and then tell me what to buy at the store, right? Which, really handy. And I can say, I'm going to Walmart here in York, PA. Tell me, like, put it in the order of the store, so as I walk around, I just get it and go right off the list. My dream is that agent can now take my list and go to the Walmart website and just buy that stuff for me. So that's the next step. That's what's coming with AI, is agents that you can tell it what to do, they can start taking actions. These are starting to exist, on quality quite yet. They're getting there, but we're heading this direction. The other big change is something called vibe coding. The idea being, if you have an idea and you're not a programmer, I am not a code programmer. I can train AI all day, but I'm not going to write the code. I can fix the code a little bit, but I'm not going to write the code. AI is great at coding. Guess what it was designed by? It was designed by coders, right, to help coders. And so it's really good at that. So there are tools, and if you use ChatGPT 5 today, you can do this in ChatGPT 5. You can say, hey, I want to develop a video game, and right here in this window, help me build the video game. Here are the rules to the game. Here are the inputs. Here's the rules. Here's the goal of the game. And it will build you the code, and you can play it right within that. Where I see this is guys like me I have ideas for software all the time. And I got to go to a developer to make my final version of this software, is in the prototyping phase. I now can formalize that idea using vibe coding, say, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking. it's probably not going to work the way I want it to, but I can kind of flush it out and make it like look the way I want to, make it kind of feel the way, look through the screens, look through the process. So I'm in the middle of making one that we're calling a digital apprentice, right? One of the biggest concerns I get for most shops in the world when we see them is their knowledge is leaving. They're retiring, they're going to lose those people, right? And so how do we capture that knowledge? So we have a tool in development right now that guy can, hey, you're on the shop floor, this machine breaks down, you're the only guy that knows how to do it, pulls his phone out, just talks into it, says, hey, here's how to fix this machine. He goes and fixes it. Great, I've captured that information. I'm building that tool right now so we can build your lessons learned log for your business. You've got that whole system, and we do it in a really simple way so that guy can pull it out and just record it, right? We don't make it more complicated than that. So I've developed that using vibe coding. Every screen looks beautiful, it works, but if you hit record, it doesn't actually do anything. That's fine, because all I want to do is show the developers exactly how I want this to work, okay? And that is a really hard part. I can tell you, working with developers in the past, their understanding of the business world, a little light. So instead, you got to be able to bring them something that says, this is what we're actually trying to do, okay? So I see vibe coding as a great opportunity. There's a large problem in AI, and we call it the junior developer problem. And this is going to happen across industries. This is where I don't need a junior programmer anymore because AI is now my junior programmer. But how do you ever get a senior programmer if they've never been a junior programmer? How do you get people up through the ranks? And as you look at your business, this is a training problem. We're going to have to train people faster and better and have them more prepared to become that senior programmer, or we're not going to get people from that lower stage up to where we need them to be. And so recognize that within your business when you're trying to bring people in. If we are using AI to replace some of these jobs, that's something that you're going to have to contend with. You're not going to get people right out of college who understand this set, and we have to have a pathway for them to get to that understanding. So other AI tools that I use, Evan mentioned Gamma. I told him about it this week. I don't make PowerPoints anymore. I make the content in ChatGPT or whatever window I want to make it in. And then from there, I run it through Gamma, and then it makes my PowerPoint, and then I make it pretty. Think of the idea with AI is I can get to 90% done or 85% done way faster than everybody else. And now I got to do the last 15%. That makes my life a lot easier. I don't have to look at the blank page and start with something. I've got something ready to roll. The next one I always like to talk about is something called Fixer. I turned this on 3 weeks ago and thought I hated it. After 3 weeks, I kind of love it. The idea being, I don't have time to respond to all the emails that are coming in. So when I look at my email box, I probably get, 1,000 every day of stuff that I'm supposed to look at, which is insanity. So Fixer plugs into my email, and if it thinks I need to respond, it drafts a response for me in my voice, and then puts it in my drafts folder so I can send it if I want to. Pretty cool. It also looks at my calendar, because a lot of times people are saying, hey, can we have a meeting next week? So it grabs my calendar and says, hey, and he could have a meeting at this time. So now I've got a time. So we could propose that to a customer. If they like it, boom, I hit a button and I've got a meeting already scheduled. Invites are out, all good to go. It also goes to every meeting, whether I'm there or not, and takes notes. So that's on Zoom or Teams, and it's really handy. Emails them back to you. Something to be careful with, and this is with any of the email assistants, is it goes to meetings with or without you. It takes notes with or without you, and if you don't set it right, it will email those notes out to everybody who was supposed to be at that meeting. And if Jim didn't come to the meeting and you talked about Jim in those notes, could be a problem. Okay, so be careful with these kind of tools that you know what you're talking about and you know what was in that in those notes before you sent them out to everybody. That includes customers, right? So, hey, you were having a little conversation before the customer gets on the Teams meeting and we talked about them. It recorded that and it might send it to the customer if you don't tell it not to. So things you need to watch out for before you just turn some of these things on. The last one, and this is our toolkit that we're selling to get people using AI, is our platform. It's called Ledge.hats. And the idea being, I can give a company, assume somebody has 20 people at the company, I can give them access to secure AI. And this is AI that doesn't learn. I've turned learning off for everything, but with different models. If you looked earlier, I was probably using models like not only ChatGPT, but I'm going to use things like Gemini and Claude. This is a weird market right now where we don't know who the winner is going to be. We're early 90s right now, trying to figure out who is Yahoo, who is Google, who is AOL. I'm a little concerned that ChatGPT is AOL, right? And if you're in it, you're like stuck in their environment and you're kind of just using their tool. That's your pathway to AI. There are so many other tools that are really good and better than ChatGPT that maybe don't do everything, but do pieces of it. And you need to start testing those because we got to find the next Google, right? And in my mind, so you'll see a lot of the times when I'm writing stuff, I use something called Claude. It's made by a company called Anthropic. It is significantly better at writing than ChatGPT. And I think ChatGPT's writing got worse with 5, when 5 came out compared to 4. So it's continuing to watch that and looking at who's going to be the winner here. Right? We don't know who's going to be the winner, and there's going to be tools. I can tell you I didn't use this Gamma app 6 months ago. I used something called Beautiful.ai. I just cut the subscription for that. That's gone. Now I use this. Every 6 months, I mean, it's going to be something different. The next one's coming. You have to be continually watching it. With our tool, I'm able to not only build these workflows like what I showed you, but give folks access to a lot of those tools to start doing the testing. Here's something that I worked on recently that I thought would be an interesting one to share with you. I have a business advisor for my company. I have 10 people. We're starting to really grow, and I'm getting too busy to do all the admin that I used to do, right? And so I got asked, hey, what have you spent your time on in the past year? And luckily, with my tool, I can connect it to my Gmail and to my Google Calendar. And I said, hey, do an analysis of where I've spent my time this entire year. Put it into buckets and tell me what I need to do better. I don't have to go back and do that. It just grabbed all that data for me. This is literally my time, right? One of the things I think is interesting is that partnerships and boards, for me, that is like nonprofit stuff. I'm spending like 12% of my time doing nonprofit stuff. While I'm happy to do that, is that the ideal use of my time right now as I'm trying to grow a company? Maybe not. I'm doing a lot of admin things. It caught, and I have a lot more details than this, it caught that I'm planning my company Christmas party right now, and I probably shouldn't be doing that. I should probably hand that over to somebody else, right? So there are things like that I wouldn't have been able to dive in. I would have been guessing at where I'm spending my time. I'm able to actually get real data and run with it. So how do we layer this out? We're really focusing on crawl, walk, run. We start with, hey, let's get a policy in place. Let's get your team starting to use AI, right? Let's get them just using ChatGPT, but in our instance, in a safe place. Then let's introduce some tools to them just to get them thinking. All of our tools are designed to get people to think about, oh, well, is this an application we could use? Could it do this? Could it do that? That's what I want them to think, because they're going to come to you with, you know what, I think we could use AI. Maybe I don't know how to program it, but I think we could use AI for this. And you start looking for those opportunities within the business. This is the first tool, and what I see is it's been driven sort of bottom up. They're going to bring the solutions. They're going to say, hey, we could use AI to fix this problem. You're not even going to know that problem exists, right? And they're going to be able to bring that to you and look for opportunities. Once you can do that, then you start to walk. Sometimes you're going to find that you don't have the data to be able to do this anyway. They're going to say, I got this problem. I would love to do something about it, but I don't have the data. We got to start collecting that data right now. AI doesn't work if we don't have a good data set behind it. So if you're not collecting data right now to feed it, you're going to be behind. It's time to start doing that today. Once you have that in place, now we can start releasing tools to the team and start looking for the bigger opportunities. This is the cheapest way into Industry 4.0. This is not a $100,000 robot. You can get 20 people on your company into AI for like 10 grand a year. That is pretty inexpensive when you think about a tool that works. When you buy a robot, it just works on the manufacturing floor. When I buy AI and give it to my whole team, it's going to help purchasing, it's going to help sales, it helps everybody across the business. So you have a pretty cool opportunity to really make some good change, really have some big impact there. So my call to action is that AI is a now decision. You have to think about, and as a leadership, you can't wait on this. You have to think about how are we going to start using it today. And it can be easy today. That's the idea. Make it easy, right? Start small. You're going to learn fast and you're going to lead, right? Leaders are going to jump in front of this. The teams that say, we're going to wait 6 months and see where it's at, you're going to be decades behind. It's moving that fast. It's not an option. If you are good at Google, you can be good at AI. You do not need to be a programming expert to be good at this. So start using it today. This is our access for that free AI policy. Please grab it and start looking at how your team can use it. I don't say that, don't tell your team no on this. Tell them, hey, for marketing stuff, go use ChatGPT, please. I'm fine if it generates some images for us. But for accounting analysis of my data, I want to use a tool like we have, or go find that private tool and work with your IT department to either find those or find guys like us that can help implement secure AI into your company to drive with it. I'm happy to answer, and I'm sure Evan would be happy to answer any questions related to AI, where it could fit in. I know we got dinner coming, so I don't want to kill your whole evening. But any questions that we can certainly help. Yeah, go ahead.
I like your point about how you talk about building a reports and like fixing things that like my generation doesn't know how to fix. Like software can fix that. With the time that I downloaded code, how are you going to get that person to talk on how to fix it and get it to truly translate into using that code correctly? Like if I try to teach it how to make a peanut butter sandwich, and I tell it take bread out of the thing, it's just going to rip bread out of it instead of pulling it out of the whole bag.
Yeah, so in my mind, we're going to have to work on, number one, what information is he collecting, right? Is he able to talk into his phone, describe what he wants to do, and from there, hopefully he can add as much context as we can get him to add. One is I got to incentivize that guy to actually give me information, right? What's his incentive to do this? So we're working on ways that we can capture how much every individual is putting into the system to either two things. One, pay him up front. Or I have an idea that we can say, hey, every time we access this, your data, we're going to send you some money in the mail, right? It's $1 or something. Every time we access this, the more you put in there, the more valuable you are long-term. You are long-term invested in our company. So ways that we can be creative and incentivize them to do that. There is going to have to be some oversight on that by management to look at it to make sure it's valuable data and clean data that's going in. So that's certainly a concern, and we have to be finding the right tools to kind of analyze that and turn that into something useful is critical. But using the AI on the background to then say, hey, what did we do for part 1, 2, 3 in the past? And find all the information we've ever done about it is really interesting. And so I think we have some cool opportunities to create those lessons for teams. Any other questions? Yeah?
I'm pretty interested in using AI to help with pricing. So I do a lot of estimating using a lot of calculators and Excel, right? Excel calculators and whatnot. Do you think, in your estimation, is this something that I would need professional help with, or is this kind of like a casual user will be able to jump in and create a bot that can kind of take data and convert it into a useful calculator?
I created one.
Yeah, so Evan has one. I have one for my team.
Yeah, it's not something that you need a lot of coding background. I mean, you can actually have it code something if you want, to Adam's point, but you can just ask it certain questions to help you figure it out. So how do I build a pricing calculator? You ask, throw it into ChatGPT, have a conversation with it, and then it will give you the steps that you need to follow in order to create that inside of its own system. And whether you want to pull it outside and do it in another system, and I mean, if you're using your own pricing information, maybe don't use ChatGPT, maybe use something that's a little bit more company approved, but from a security perspective. But the bots themselves will teach you how to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's part of the dirty secret is if I don't know how to do something, or guess what helps me write my prompts? I mean, I'm going to use AI to help me write better prompts and figure out how to build the tool. On the flip side, so I've built them for my team. It's the validation that actually takes more time than building the tools to make sure it's actually giving you the numbers that you want it to give you. Mm-hmm. So how do you test it?
Right.
And so the example would be my team on the quality consulting side. We help companies to get like ISO 9001, or if you ever see a company has that, quality certifications, things like that. And so I've built a estimating tool for us that is really strong. And it's strong because in the background, I've given it a year's worth of the proposals that I wrote, and one Excel sheet, which is interesting, with like 20 tables on it to figure out pricing. Right? So my tool is able to navigate that one Excel sheet, figure out which table to go to, grab the price, and then use my year's worth of proposals for context and to learn how I write. And then it writes our proposals for us, comes up with the price, and all I do is I validate it. So we spent the first 2 months of having that tool of writing our own proposals and making sure our numbers were the same, right? And then we tested against all of them. So we tested about 100 proposals to make sure the numbers were good coming out of it. And so that part is really the time-consuming one.
So to take it a step further, with Microsoft Copilot and using, what's their AI, or it's like their app, Power AI.
Yeah.
I've had a tremendous amount of difficulty in trying to cross the bridge to like a functional app.
That's been my problem with Microsoft Copilot the whole time. I'm at a Copilot until they figure out how to make it better. I'm outside of using it to like retrieve files and stuff within my system, I find it relatively useless.
I agree completely.
GPT's not going to make the actual tool, is it? Or
You can build a custom GPT, right? And like our software, you were able to build tool. The idea is, how do I make a repeatable tool, right? Hey, here's my code, here's my prompt, here's my system, right? And how do I make that repeatable? You can do that in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's the security side that I would avoid. So you got to look for a separate tool. And the data leakage there is for real. Whether you have it locked down or not, I try to pull completely out of their environment. I don't want to play with their terms and conditions are crazy. They own your stuff. I mean, it's bad.
Is
Yeah.
there legal precedence within that yet, or like complete information?
Nope.
Not yet.
It's a Wild West right now.
Wild West, everyone?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the Wild West right now. It's scary.
If you put IP in, like if
How
you,
long till that's can become like, I mean, someone's gonna throw money back
It-
for a lawsuit, whether it's ChatGPT or Japanese business that might leak that information.
Anthropic 2 weeks ago just had, it was like 100 prompts, like streams of prompts showed up on Google. And these were just what people typed into it and didn't have it, weren't in a private environment. That's terrifying. Imagine if you were like, I need to review this employee and I'm trying to write this, like that'd be really bad. So yeah, there's not yet. It's coming. I would say what's more interesting is how am I going to market? Because I think SEO is dead.
yeah,
Right.
it is a different world. It's going to keep on going. It's not dead yet. You can give it a little
It's
bit. Of time.
coming.
It'll be dead next year.
I'm not
Next year it'll
spending
be
money on SEO right now. I'm spending money on how do I make sure that AI can find me. And right now, that is free. There is there's no pay to play with AI yet. I'm sure that's coming. But for right now, that is all about content and being a leader in the market. It's looking for you for info.
dead. Linking everywhere. Linking everywhere.
So you just really piqued my interest in why would you say SEO is dead vis-a-vis ChatGPT when they're pulling from the same sources of information?
Oh, it's gaming the system with SEO, right? So it's looking for different things than what Google was looking for. Now we're trying to, I would say it's a different model. We're trying to teach AI to find us, not trick Google into putting us up top on the list. So it's a very different approach to marketing.
And Google is now penalizing actual sites for using tons of AI content that you don't humanize. And there are tools out there so you can humanize the content a little bit, but the AI will tend to find it no matter what.
Think about Google. If you Google something now and it gives you an AI answer up top. The deal with Google in the past was they can use my website as long as they're sending me traffic. They're not sending me traffic anymore, right? Because they're just giving somebody the answer. And so what is my incentive? Number one, to pay Google for marketing now. No, not doing that anymore. Number two, try to get up the list on those guys. People aren't, the number of searches on Google is dropping, and people are now going to ChatGPT with that question. So I want to make sure that it can find me. And that is all about content,
Yep.
right?
Content.
That's what SEO is.
Well, no.
You're not paying for it anyway.
Oh, you're definitely, you're paying your marketing guys to get the wording right at the top. No, we're talking about breadth content, not the little tweaks that we're trying to make it perfect, right? This is talking about deep information. And so I want the more I have on my website, the better, the stronger we're going to be. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different model. Yes.
Along the same line, so Google was able to identify what content on your site is AI written.
Yeah, pretty well.
It identifies you if the majority of it is.
Yes.
Even if it's logs, terms and conditions, just any pages on there.
Yes. So, I mean, look, Google's not going to release their algorithms, but that's what it appears to be doing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we're looking at how do you make, My answer isn't you should write all your articles yourself. My answer is let AI write 90% of it
Yep.
and then clean up that last 10%, and then it's not going to count.
Yeah.
Then it's yours. That's okay.
There's tools you can use to adapt your
Correct.
frontage and that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's tons of tools. I mean, even in working in chat, now you're absolutely right. 5 is horrible. I don't know who has used 5, but what they did with that is like 4 was hand over fist better. But you can use the actual bot itself inside of it to clean it, because there's prompts out there that you get. Like I mentioned Reddit earlier. I did a Reddit prompt today, or I found a prompt on Reddit and put it into a blog that I was creating to kind of change the tonality of it, and it was crazy. It came out with a much different voice, sounded human, and didn't say, it took out a lot of the things that make AI sound like AI. So it's always improving too, but the models, when they change, all that sometimes gets set back to 0, and you got to start over.
Yeah, it's an interesting world. Any other questions? By all means, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, the apps that you showed up there before, Gamma and I think Fixer.
Yep.
Are those free available apps or are those proprietary to your company?
No, Gamma and Fixer are just on the web. They're just ones I use personally. We do have one that is for our company, and that is what's called this Ledge Hats. And what we're able to do is give people access to a contained version of ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, and essentially 49 models. So you can start to learn which one to use and when. And then those tools that I was building, that's where I built them. Right? It's a toolkit I can build, and then I can deploy to individual companies. So I can build it and say, here you go, or you can build it yourself. That's the best part. You've never had a technology you could test your results like that. Is it working? Nope. Here's what I need to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question for you, piggybacking off that, like how you use all this program in your business model for that set of AI for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What stops like ChatGPT from like allowing you to use your prompt into your website for that? Like, is there soon to be a way where they cannot, like you cannot use their prompts into your software?
You mean they're yeah, we're licensed with them.
Okay.
So we have the licenses with those guys to use their stuff locally, and so we're not robbing anybody on that. But yeah. So we are, and I prefer using it this way because it gives me that safety. And I'm telling you, testing different when you look at data set, this would be a good example. If I have a huge data set, Google is way better at it because it has a bigger input context window. Google can take in 1 million pieces of information on the front end. ChatGPT, the newest one, can only take in 500,000. Yeah. So one of my customers just got a 250-page PDF from their calibration supplier. And every page is a different piece of information that they have to pull off and put into a table and analyze. Well, okay, how else are they going to do that without somebody having to go through this one page at a time? I wrote them a quick program, boom, it's done. And look, the only one that could do that was Google. I tried it, with the other tools, and they can't make it happen. It's because that context window is different. So you start to learn what tool works better at different spots.
You talked a little bit about the security side. So if you don't turn off the learning aspect of it, and you tell it stuff, let's just say problems within your company. If you say, I have a company ABC, and here's a problem we have. In theory, if somebody else says, hey, our competitor ABC, what problems do they have? Do they communicate with itself?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not direct, but the knowledge is there, so it pulls the knowledge.
Yep.
And it's all about trust scores, and it's,
Yeah, so that it becomes a concern on where the direction, and that's why you have to be very careful. That's why we're asking at the end of prompts, is this useful or not? Yeah. Or, hey, how confident are you in this? What things did you just make up? Because sometimes it just makes it up.
Hallucination's a real thing.
So, are you able to have it where it does learn, but just not make it, I'll say public, but
not really.
No.
Not really. Now, if you do a private one, if you use Copilot, you can do some private. And ChatGPT just released one of their versions you can run locally. Mm-hmm. However, you got to have the horsepower to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Think about, do you have the compute to do it? It's probably going to be slow. For light prompts, fine, and then that would stay within itself.
But if you're having, like, I think you mentioned having to do like quotes for you,
mm-hmm.
And obviously you put in your cost and have it determine
That's sort of building the tools. So I've built tools that has my information in the back. That is, I'm not teaching it that. So that's a good question. When we build tools, we kind of keep it in our own world. I'm not actually teaching it those things. Yes.
But the bot can use that information to.
Exactly. It can grab it when. Yeah, but I'm not sending anything to them. Yeah. I just used it. You know, we talked about a market analysis. I'm using it to find connections at companies. The web scrapers are insane, where I can just say, hey, I want manufacturers in this county, and find me somebody in management there that I can shoot a note to, and I can pull it like that.
Yep.
And it's really amazing to see the direction we can head with it.
Well, that's fascinating. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Fascinating.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So with that, I think I kind of conclude the program today. We have dinner and drinks.